All right, this is a good question from a youth. Charlie, awesome question. He says, what is the Lord of the Flies? And he says, I remember when I was in ninth grade, I read a book called Lord of the Flies. It's a novel. And there's a movie, at least one, maybe two movies on it. Anyway, it's a horrible movie. But it's got some real deep principles of getting along and how human nature tends to be self-centered and all. It's pretty intense. But the Lord of the Flies biblically is the possible meaning of Beelzebul, Baal-zebul. And there's different word spellings on that. It's B-A-apostrophe-A-L and then Zebul. Or it's actually, a lot of times in the King James versions, I think King James is Beelzebub. But I think the literal, probably more accurate thing is bull. And it comes from, what's hard, the etymology of that, the origin of the word, is difficult. That nobody, I don't say nobody, but scholars are they're trying to figure out what the original was. But I can't say, in 2 Kings chapter 1, for about 4 verses, 2, 3, 6, 16, or whatever different verses there was a name of a god, little g, false god, called Beelzebul, and Baal-zebul. And it kind of changed from B-A-A-L and all, but there was, if I were to draw, let's see, Israel, let me just kind of draw it real quick and show it to you. This is the Sea of Kinneret in the Old Testament, Sea of Galilee or Tiberias in the New. And we have the River Jordan, and then we have the, I'm not going to draw all like this, the Dead Sea, and then you have Jerusalem here. Well, right across here, probably about there, maybe a little bit even further over, not much, there's a town under the Philistine armies. I don't know if it was there all the time, but during that period, in David's period, Ekron right here. That should be an R, Ekron. And there's a town there, and there was a literal god by the name of Beelzebul. It's Baal. And the question is, what does it mean, the word, and why do they call one of the meanings of it is Lord of the Flies? Now, there's also been a theory that's called Lord of the Dung. You know, whenever I think dung droppings, I think flies all around it, but I don't think that's, I think more modern scholars most of them don't agree with that old term, and they're not sure what it means. There's a very strong possibility it means master of the house. There's also the sense of Baal being above, so there's the Lord of the heavens, which is not, nobody's the Lord of the heavens, or there's no God but God. He's really the God of heaven and earth. But they thought Baal was in the heavens because he provided rain and all that, so the meaning of the word has been the Lord of the heavenlies, or the Lord of a dwelling place or something. And so it's all over the place. But Lord of the Flies is one of the major possible meanings of that. Now, I used to think, like, Lord of the Flies, Satan is like Lord of a bunch of flies flying around you and distracting you, and he'd he'd go like this, but I don't know. Demon powers, I don't think so. Or that there's beings that Lord of demon powers that are flying, that they're creatures that move around. I don't know. But that's what the biblical tendency of it is. The words Lord of the Flies is not in the Bible. It's just one of the meanings of the possible word that came from, it's only used one time in the New Testament. It's Matthew chapter 12, somewhere near the end or 3/4 of the way or halfway anyway, when Jesus is talking about, they were saying, Jesus, the spirit that was, this is horrible, was that they described that was working in Jesus, what they called him Beelzebub, which at that time in the Jewish period was the prince of demons, Lord, the prince of the demons. And so that name, it means that in the New Testament. And then the meaning of that is possibly Lord of the Flies. But what's horrible is that you can't call, I keep cutting my sentences off. They identified the spirit that was in Jesus as being devil, Satan himself. Not just a demon, but Satan, the devil himself. Satan meaning enemy, adversary. Devil meaning accuser. A person who is an accuser or I can't think of another word, that accusing you of doing something. So that's the meaning of it. And Satan is, but that wasn't the spirit that was working in him. It was the Holy Spirit, not the unholy spirit that was working in him. All right, I hope that answers your question. It says, what is the Lord of the Flies? And so thanks for asking. That story is a whole different thing. I don't think that's what he was asking. It was more about the Bible, because it has been referred to. All right, thank you, Charlie.